Reverse Reverend here today doing my review of One Piece chapter 891, Believing in Me. Like always, or back however many months ago I did my last review, I'll look at the blocks of the chapter, then review, then discuss and go over the interesting and relevant parts. A quick note to those watching, my biggest video by far was my Rurouni Kenshin Hokkaido arc video. Thanks to Nobuhiro Watsuki not being at all the type of person I had hoped, and some really terrible stuff he did, which I'm sure you've all heard about. The series is canceled slash on hiatus, and I'm not going to be reviewing the second chapter. I really do love the series, and I am disgusted by the author. I'm not going to review the entire series like I planned on doing, and I'm not going to review the Hokkaido arc if it comes back. I mean, I still love the series, but what he did was just disgusting. Anyways, let's look at what this chapter brought us, and it wasn't a whole lot. There was some cool stuff, but this chapter had very little story progression. So it starts off on Whole Cake Island. We have Stussy, Big News Morgan, and Tamago discuss what happened on Whole Cake Island. Stussy reveals that Tamate Bako destroyed the castle, which shocks Tamago. And then we jump to the Mirror World. Luffy is dodging the snipers who are some fodder of Big Mom's crew. I think it's just speed related. It's probably not related to his color of observation hockey. And then we are introduced to a new character, Flambe, who's a fangirl and also one of the sisters of the Charlotte family. There's a controversy on her age because she is 15. She's the 33rd daughter, and Pudding is the 35th, and she's 15. So you can go hear about that controversy elsewhere. It's whatever. I'm sure it'll get fixed or explained later on. Anyways, Luffy's trying to dodge and getting the crap kicked out of him, and he's then kicked into a wall and trapped by Katakuri's mochi. So he then kicks through the back part of the wall, which is a really cool panel. The fighting throughout this chapter was really well illustrated, and so you see that in all these panels. Katakuri taunts Luffy on being unable to do anything. He sees Luffy is slowly able to somewhat predict the future. He's able to do so intermittently. Luffy focuses on some of the things that really taught him and is able to match Katakuri's attack with Elephant Gun. And I'm going to discuss this later. I think this is pretty controversial and doesn't make a ton of sense, but we'll get into that. Katakuri then kicks him and tells Luffy to give up, and that he knows his plans are to meet up with everybody on Cacao Island, and that his brothers and sisters are going to kill everybody. We then jump to Sanji and everybody working on the cake. The cake is finished. It's a complete, exact replica of the one at the wedding. There's some other small moments here, but they're not really relevant. Sanji says he'll stop Big Mom, and then Luffy says he'll beat Katakuri, and then it's a split panel, and it says, hence the name of the chapter. We then jump to the Big Mom chasing the rest of the Straw Hats. Chopper is now at Monster Point because he's desperate, and his plan is to grab Big Mom and dunk them both into the ocean. Nami then says that's useless because of how giant Prometheus is, which is another thing we'll discuss in a little bit. Jinbei mentions that Prometheus is so big that even his water attacks will have no effect. And then Brooke says in astonishment, so this is a Yonkou's soul. I think this is something else we can discuss. Lastly, Big Mom smells the cake as Sanji and them are approaching. The chapter ends, and we have no chapter next week. So a few things I want to discuss that are a little questionable or interesting this chapter. The first is Luffy's Gear 3 punch versus the Block Mochi. If we remember several chapters ago, Katakuri attacks Luffy with the Block Mochi, which is the upgraded version of Color of the Armaments Hockey, and Luffy is only able to deflect it by using Gear 4. But in this chapter, he's able to counter it with just Gear 3 using Elephant Gun and regular hockey. So it doesn't really make any sense because if he didn't upgrade his hockey, then this attack is weaker hockey-wise and weaker physically than his Gear 4th attack. And Katakuri isn't using regular mochi, it's still the block mochi. It doesn't really make any sense. The only things that would make sense is that Katakuri is losing hockey ability, so even though it's an advanced form, he's losing focus and getting frustrated. I mean, the other thing is that Luffy could be getting stronger, which I wouldn't mind, but he's trying to advance his color of the observation hockey and not his color of the armaments currently. If he was actually able to do the advanced color of the armaments hockey, it would make more sense. Or if Katakuri had mentioned something about his hockey fading, had like a thought bubble about his hockey fading or his focus fading, it would make more sense. But I really just don't get this. It looked cool, but I didn't like it, and it's kind of questionable what's going on here. I hope there's some more explanation. Him being able to look into the future and advancing his color of the observation hockey slowly makes sense, but This gear third punch matching a block mochi attack does not. Moving on, the size of Prometheus and Big Mom not having any damage or scratches from the previous attack by Zeus just show how powerful she is. Like some people last chapter were questioning her power. If we look at her this chapter, like none of the burn marks are on her. As far as we can tell, there's no scratches or anything. And she even says, "Oh, it's been fun," before she's seemingly about to sink them, and the ship shows up and grabs her attention. So we see Prometheus' size, and if we look at it, it's much bigger than the Sunny, and it's also much bigger than the Sea Slug. And so if we notice how big the Sea Slug might be, or the Candy Sea Slug might be a lot smaller now, but if we realize how big it was in the previous chapters, and then compare it to the size of Prometheus and the size of the Sunny, I think Prometheus is even bigger than it looks. Perspective wise, the Sunny is much closer to the front of the frame, and Prometheus and Big Mom are further back. And I just think it shows people she is on Whitebeard's level. Not currently, but I think she's probably on like injured Whitebeard's level. She's literally creating a sun that Jinbei can't even do anything against it, and Big Mom's just kind of having fun. I would argue that Big Mom in this state is as strong as Whitebeard after he fought Akainu. I think it's just showing off that Yonkou, yeah, sure, you can push him back and do things to him, but you can't just take him down. Like, she's not going to be taken out. She's not damaged at all. She's just sick, and her body is eating itself. But overall, she's fine. And I would argue again that she is at Whitebeard's level after he was injured. She has her sickness, and Whitebeard has injuries. And I just think this kind of disproves any of the people who are whining about the Yonkou aren't as powerful. Big Mom's not really as powerful. She was pushed back by Jinbei. And then the other thing that's in conjunction with that is Brooke mentions the Yonkou's soul. And so I was a little confused on, is this because Big Mom is using her powers to enhance Prometheus? Is this just because Prometheus is using his full powers? Did she insert more of her soul into Prometheus? Like, is this her version of awakening? I don't think so. I'm kind of confused because of Zeus was so easily kind of beaten. And I know they strategized to beat him and shrink him down, but it's really weird that Prometheus was able to grow this big. And I'm kind of confused why she didn't do it with Zeus, but obviously she's not completely in her right mind. Or is this just part of her activating Prometheus's full strength? What do you guys think is going on with Prometheus? What do you think of Luffy's Gear Third Punch being able to combat block Mochi? Do you think that makes any sense? And then what do you think of Big Mom in this sick mode compared to Whitebeard after fighting Akainu? That's all I have for now. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.